And now it's time for a roundup of the hottest Israeli tech news this week. Here to fill us in on the details is Ctech's managing editor, Ron Friedman. Hey, Ron, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Lauren, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about the biggest stories in tech. Take it away.
Right. It's been quite a week. Perhaps like the biggest story, at least in terms of topics that our viewers will be familiar with, is the acquisition of an Israeli company called Voca AI by none other than Snap, the parent company of the popular app Snapchat. We all know it as the cute app geared towards millennials or younger people, where you can add, funny ears or eyes or emoticons. You send messages. In most cases, they're temporary ones that disappear after a few minutes. In any case, it's a household name, a very big messaging service company. So they're buying Voca AI, a relatively small, not very well-known Israeli company. The price tag on that is $70 million, which is impressive, definitely by Israeli standards. What they do is, call centers, when you're chatting with a representative, oftentimes these days, the person you're chatting with is not a person, it's an algorithm, a robot. So Voca AI is kind of taking that to the next level. They have a very powerful artificial intelligence backed algorithm that really makes you feel as if you're talking to a human being. They can detect accent, they can detect tone of voice, they can detect the age or the mentality of the person they're speaking to, and adjust it so that it really feels like a human interaction.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on to your next story. Thousands of Israelis are at risk of blackmail after their accounts were hacked. Pretty crazy story. What happened?
Yeah, it's a pretty bad one. So, hacks happen pretty often. In this case, we're talking about a hack or a breach into a series or a network of dating/hookup websites, and literally 600,000 Israelis, on these various websites had fed in over the years lots and lots of data, lots of messages, photos, information. All that has been breached, and that information is out there now. And we're talking about nude images. We're talking about people committing adultery on these kind of sites. A lot of potential for being blackmailed if that data, if that information falls into the wrong hands. The hacker who discovered it even told about cases where government employees or military officials were exchanging information on some of these sites, in some cases standing in front of maps containing secret military operations.
Wow.
and sensitive information. So in the hacking world, and this is a huge story this week. A lot of people might be nervous these days.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what comes out of that. And our final item from you, Ron, is about gamers.
Yeah, so it's a great feature story that you can read. All these stories are available, of course, on calcalist.coil. But I recommend this one. Amit Kling, a reporter, wrote about the gaming industry, the indie gaming industry here in Israel, and how it's ready for its big breakout. Basically, since distribution of games no longer relies on brick and mortar stores, and anybody anywhere in the world can purchase or get their hands on an independent game, that whole industry here is flourishing. He gives several examples of games that are either out or coming out soon. And he's interviewing figures from the gaming community here, and everybody's anticipating a really big break. And hopefully, one day Israel will be home to some kind of AAA titles, which is what the industry's been waiting for.
I don't know if you're a gamer, Ron, but I wonder if you can give us some insight into some specifics in some of these indie Israeli games.
Well, sure. I mean, so independent gaming, as opposed to, again, AAA gaming, and opposed to, on one hand, you have like the console wars. You have huge games that take you hundreds of hours to play with beautiful graphics and plots, and cost $100 million to make. On the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, you have mobile games that you play on your smartphone,
Right.
casino games, and the indie gaming industry is kind of in the middle there. It's kind of popular viral games, but nowhere near the magnitude of the AAA games. Some of the games that people can already try out, a game called Of Bird and Cage, a game called Grime.
Okay, we will definitely take your recommendations. Ron, thank you so much for this great rundown. We'll see you soon.
My pleasure. Have a great day.